How do I introduce this? My friends, the time has finally come. After 3 years, I am holding the first hardcover copy of my book, and I'm so stoked. I am also holding this, but that will be explained at another time. It's finally here. If you want to check out, this is limited keepsake edition. You can sign up for updates with the link in the bio, theartoffocusbox.com. We are doing those first, where it's going to be a box, and then after that sells out, there's only going to be 2,000 copies. We're going to launch the paperback, and it will sell as a normal book on Kindle, everything, and hopefully Audible in the future. But with that exciting news out of the way, let's get into the actual content of today's video by starting with the best compliment that you can receive. I've heard this a few times in my life from specific people that I've met, and the best compliment that you can receive is, "I like the way your mind works." And when I was young, I always envied those that were more intelligent and articulate than me. I always wondered how they did it. How did they organize their thoughts and put it into words that impacted me through books, videos, lectures, whatever it may be? How did they say what I've been thinking for years but couldn't string into words? How did they have these high-level conversations like in podcasts where I'm so young and they're so old, and there's such a huge gap in knowledge and understanding that I don't really understand what they're saying in these podcasts or these lectures or even these books, but I know that it means something. I know that it's deeper or higher than my current level of intelligence, and I have always wanted to reach that point. The poeticism of Watts, the pithy advice of Seneca, the crypticism of Nietzsche, the elegance of Peterson. There was a gravity to their words that always stuck in the back of my head, and I truly believe that they led me to where I am today. They influenced the want to become intelligent, led to all of the actions, or it influenced all of the actions that I was taking up until this point. And I've always known that I wanted to do something creative. I never really wanted to work a job, even though I did. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I wanted to do something creative. I knew that even when I had interests in something like fitness, I didn't really want to post pictures of my body online, even though if I could get super fit, that would be a cool thing, but it never really stuck with me. I never really wanted to do that. And I also knew that I didn't want to work a job. So I didn't want to earn from both my body or my time. So I knew that I had to earn with my mind. And this led me down a brutal path of skill acquisition and business failures, like learning graphic design, web design, trying drop shipping with e-commerce, and really just taking on any opportunity that I could, learning web development, getting a web development job. And all of these things, even though they failed, and I had learned and stacked these skills, and for a brief moment of time, I felt like they didn't have any applicability or would earn me any form of an income, because if I had to get a job, then it's like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. My degree goes out the window most of the time. All the skills that I learned go out of the window most of the time. But what they did lead to was the ability to solve creative problems. And today I'm grateful to say that I can earn a living with the skills that I've learned, the interests that I have, writing, and I can sustain a high quality of life by pulling two levers, the inputs and outputs of my mind. So in this letter, I want to discuss 4 big ideas. The first is your mental body and how it rules your life. 2 is how mental bodybuilding is your path to intelligence. 3 is why mental real estate is the most valuable resource. And 4, how to monetize your mind to create your own source of income. Mental aesthetics is your master key to the doors of the good life. So chapter 1 is the mental body. That's the first thing we need to understand. And what I mean by the mental body is our self-image, or our concept of self, or the idea of who we are, our identity. All of these are synonymous. Whenever you hear them in spiritual teachings, it's like the ego or the self, or when you hear it in psychology, it's also the ego or identity. When you hear it in self-help, it's the same thing. It's personality, identity. All of these things coincide. It represents the idea of who we are, because our body changes every 7 years. All of the cells are different. They change. They die and they reproduce, and our body is completely different than who we were 7 years ago. But our concept of self is kind of the same. So it shows that who we are is not the idea in our head, and that can also change, but we tend to stay static, and people stay comfortable, and they allow their identity to rule their life. And so one example of this is, from the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Waltz. I haven't read the whole thing. I just read like the first chapter and got this example. It talks about a phenomenon where surgery patients undergo like a massive change in how they view themselves and their quality of life and what they go on to do once they have that plastic surgery, or they change their physical body that then changes the way they view themselves. Because someone with, let's say, a crooked nose really had all of these pent up attachments, and it really skewed how they viewed themselves in relation to other people or when they interact with other people. It caused them not to act on certain opportunities simply because they just thought they looked weird. And so when they got that fixed, it changed their psyche to reflect that, and they went on to be more confident. And because they were more confident, they took on better opportunities and they became successful to an extent. So this brings up the concept of conceptual survival. What I mean by that is humans survive on both the physical plane of existence and the mental plane of existence. Yes, so if a bear is charging at you, then obviously you're going to have that stress response, that fight or flight response to get out of there. But we live in a very comfortable environment, but we still experience these stress responses every single day, even though we are more comfortable than ever. And I would argue most people are in a life situation where they're doing pretty well compared to our ancestors, or even someone that's across the world in a third world country that doesn't have internet or something like that. Even they're happy because expectations versus reality. So right now, I would argue that 95% of the time, if not all of the time, actually, yes, all of the time, humans are surviving on the mental plane of existence. We are surviving the idea that is our self, because even if a bear is charging at us, it's not that we really care that our physical body is going to die. We care that our personality and the attachments to that, and the people that we know, the people we consider friends, everything that we attach to who we are is going to die along with us, because our consciousness will go blank. There's no longer that vessel that is our mind to carry who we are. To help understand this more, conceptual survival, one, get my book when it comes out. But if you're subscribed to a specific religion and somebody says another religion is better, or they question your beliefs, how do you feel? How tied are you to that religion, to that ideology? Something so static that you can't break free of, right? If someone threatens that, do you feel threatened physically? Do you have a stress response? Do you get angry? Do you get reactive to everything? And the same thing goes for like a diet model. A lot of fitness people, let's say they love the keto diet and they adopt it as a part of who they are because it got them results after having a crappy diet and not trying or experimenting with everything and noting the principles or truths between them all, and then creating their own path. But they identify with the keto diet, and then when someone comes in and says like, oh, I love to eat carbs, how do they feel? Do they feel threatened? Do they feel like they have to react and be like, oh no, you're gonna die because you're eating so many carbs? And so all in all, this stems from a lack of understanding and awareness. But the thing here is when they react, right? One, you're threatened, so you feel like you have to survive. So replication, reproduction of who you are is also a part of survival. So when you feel threatened, you feel the need to reproduce. You feel the need to communicate your ideas into other people so that they adopt them. That's what you're doing when you have children. Yeah, you're having a physical child, but you're creating who they are through ideas and information and talking to them. And so when someone questions my religion, which I don't have any, but if they did, then I get threatened, and then I start to say why mine is so good and why they should join my religion. Whether it's almost done always unconsciously. People say they don't want to try and convert you, but they're doing that every day because it's a part of their identity and they have to survive it. So the lesson here is releasing concepts, releasing the attachments to your identity and letting them go. To develop, expand, and grow yourself, not to be confused with inflating your ego, you must release the ideas that prevent you from rising up like sandbags tied to a hot air balloon. When you feel tension or stress or the need to reproduce or react, you have to train yourself to pause. This is what mindfulness is. When you notice a thought and you become aware of it, and that's really the cure to it, is just becoming aware of it over time and letting that correct your actions with time. You may succumb to it a few times. It's not going to be perfect the first time around, where you notice that you're in an angry phase and you're aware that you're seeing your body like react in real time, where you're angry and you know you're angry and you're doing things really that's out of your control, but you have the awareness of it. That will fix itself over time. Awareness is curative. It's a medicine. So on to chapter 2, that is mental bodybuilding. I love this concept. I don't think I'm the one that came up with it, but I love to make this analogy of regular bodybuilding and mental bodybuilding. When most people have a sense of self that is the product of the external world, you have the chance to peel back the layers. You can build a self that is a conscious, personal creation that works less, earns more, and enjoys life. That's the intro to one of my chapters in The Art of Focus. It goes into all of those, but again, check it out. Links in the description. I'm going to promote this shit nonstop. This is my life's work, okay? The highest paid individuals are the strategists, the visionaries, and the true creatives of the world. They're the people that understand that they have to earn with their mind, and that they have to have control over their mind, and that they have to protect their mind. The people that get what they want out of life have sculpted and crafted and built their ideal self. They've built their mental body so that it can spot, perceive, and actually act on opportunities with the ideas, the beliefs, and possibly those being limiting beliefs that you shed, and skills and everything else that you've acquired through learning and carefully curating the inputs of your mind. Because that's what creates the self, is your conditioning. It's the ideas, the beliefs, the skills, the education, the religious doctrine, literally anything that you can consume is soaked into your mind, especially as a kid when it's unconscious and you're just a sponge absorbing information. That creates who you are. All of these millions of bits of information culminated over time create who you are. You have much less self-control than you think because there's so much stuff going on in your brain firing left and right that goes into the actions that you take. You, at this point in time, can take millions upon billions of different choices. You can make whatever choice you want right now. But you, as an individual, with the conditioning that you have, you're going to be limited to a select few because of how you perceive life. So destiny, or just the default path, or where you're going to end up, is drastically influenced by your identity. So you need to build your mental body, because that's also how you live a mediocre life, is by doing what everyone else tells you to do, never zooming out, never questioning your beliefs, never changing who you are. It's by letting your attention get stolen from you and being distracted all day, scrolling on your phone. That's exactly how you program yourself to do absolutely nothing with your life. So I like to, when we're talking about mental bodybuilding, I like to make the bridge between food metabolism or digestion and information metabolism or digestion, because life is experience and experience is information. If you want to get spiritual or like metaphysical, everything is in formation, right? In this present moment, it's infinite consciousness, whatever, however you want to phrase this. But we're perceiving information right now. It's just pew, 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 all over the place. Our brains are processing all of the information, and there's some fact or something like that where it's like your conscious mind can process 50 bits of information per second. So what you're focusing on, the unconscious mind can process 11 million bits of information per second. And so these two processes are running both on what you're consciously focused on, which is very limited, and you have to protect that, which influences what gets stored in the unconscious and changes your actions and heavily influences everything you do without you knowing it. Your mind dictates your quality of life because your development dictates how you process information or how you process life. When you are overwhelmed with information, you feel anxious. When you are underwhelmed with information, you feel bored. To maximize the flow of information, think of your mind as a digestive system of reality. If you eat too much or you don't move enough, you won't metabolize the mental information. And if you eat too little or move too much, then you're digesting it too easily. You're not really utilizing the extra information or sitting at the edge where you're in this growth phase, right? So talking about bulking and cutting. Because in fitness, when you build muscle, you have to be in the environment that is conducive to building muscle. You need to both lift weights, so practicing skills, or building something like a project or a business, and you need to learn information or eat food so that you can actually do that, right? So you need to use your skills and you need to learn new skills. So you need the habit of both. What I've been fucking saying in almost every video is that you need to build and learn in unison because they work together to build your mental body. And so when you're bulking, you eventually gain a bit of fat. You get overwhelmed, right? You do too much, or you push too far in business, or you learn too much information that you don't know what to do with. So you need to peel back, you need to cut, you need to stop consuming so much information, you need to rest more, and you need to produce more. You need to build with the information that you already have so you can metabolize it. And so a key point here is that you need a conscious goal for every part of your life, or every chapter of your life. Because a goal provides vision and orders your mind. A goal gives you a lens to not only build to, but like what to perceive and learn information from. If you have the goal of building a business, then one, you start building the business. So you're like lifting emotional weight in a sense, because it's going to be hard. And then in order to fuel that, you need to learn new information so that you have the skill and understanding to actually do it. This is where people go wrong, is they try to learn information so quick, like, oh, how do I build a 7-figure business in 6 months? That's not going to happen because you're not giving yourself enough time to build the muscle. And there's things like steroids for business, like paid ads and other things, or networking, but those come in later, right? You have to build your natural physique for like 10 years. And then if you want to take steroids, you can. So the thing that we need to talk about here is the balance between the known and the unknown, and living at your edge. This is where meaningful events occur. This is where you feel the best in life, when you aren't too comfortable and you aren't too uncomfortable. You're right in the middle, where skill matches the challenge of the situation that you're putting yourself into. When the flow of information is maximized in your life through the balance of consumption and creation, you will encounter meaningful events. You will feel a deep sense of excitement for the future, fulfillment in the present, and gratitude for the past. These feelings should be seen as an opportunity to document the important parts of your life that you can share with others. When you read a good book that sparks excitement in you, you need to write it down, because if you plan on giving any form of value, it's going to be the stuff that you find important in your life. My best tweets are the things where I read something and I'm like, that's really good. I wish I wrote that. And then I rewrite it because now I have something to write, and I share it with other people, and it resonates with the people that are similar to me. So if we take the ideology, or I don't want it to be an ideology, but that's what it is, just don't adopt it as law, is like the one person business, or turning yourself into the business, where if I attract people that are like-minded to me and I create a solution for a problem in my own life, like a planner, then I can sell it to other people because it's helped me in my life. And if I have like-minded people following me from the information that I share on the internet through my character and virtual reality, which is a personal brand on social media, then that's how I make an income. Pretty fucking simple. You aren't where you want to be because you've been where you are for a bit too long. You have to push yourself into the unknown. You have to set your own conscious, self-generated goals, not ones that are assigned to you by a job, school, or society. And then you need to pursue those with actual effort. Yes, it takes effort. It's going to be hard. Now, chapter 3, let's talk about mental real estate. Whether they be positive or negative, the ideas that occupy the collective mental real estate will influence the progress we make as a species. The future belongs to those that can capture and hold attention with valuable information for the most amount of time possible. Another quote from my book. Who wrote the code in your head? That is to say, who fed you the information, ideas, beliefs, perspectives, and worldviews that create your sense of self? Let's consider yourself as an intellectual construct, a house, not a home, a psychic body. And it's a house that can be occupied by tenants. And these tenants can either nurture and build the house or destroy the house by partying inside of it and tearing it down and leaving it a mess. So in comes the internet, in comes social media, and in comes all of these, so much information that we've never really dealt with before as a species. We're allowing all of these ideas or tenets into our mind, and we aren't paying attention to which ones are destroying the house and which ones are making the house better. And we aren't kicking out the ones that are destroying the house, and we aren't inviting in people that are building the house. So that alone is a great way to audit your life. Is one, be conscious of your social media consumption. Two, use the information in your head to create and put on paper so you understand and can get it out and metabolize the information and see, okay, this isn't that good. I need to change this about myself. Or this is good. I like this. I'm going to leverage this and build something worth utilizing by other people. And so another way to do this audit, so to say, is by questioning why. Why are you doing anything that you are doing ever in this life? Why? Because if you don't know why you are going to that class, going to that job, marrying that person, or doing anything that you do, you did not create yourself. Sustained, long-term focus is a lost art in a distracted world, and it's wreaking havoc on our ability to achieve anything meaningful. So how do you use social media for good? First, understand that social media is the devil if you perceive it that way, and social media is the vessel for your potential if you perceive it that way. How you perceive opportunities depends on your self-development. You won't see a viral social media post as inspiration if you don't identify as a writer or creator. You won't see a business owner's complaint as a post as an opportunity for you to reach out and provide your skill set and services to help them in exchange for money. You're letting opportunities pass you by day in and day out just because you don't identify as someone who uses social media for work or for business or for their career. You haven't built your mental body by developing a skill set that would allow you to do that. You've developed a skill set that the schools told you to do so that you could be trained directly into a job. And another thing that I find interesting is that some people see like cliche or like basic advice as cringe, and then they go on to just scroll and look at memes the entire time and don't do anything with their life. When the cliche advice and principles that have stuck around for years and years and years are some of the most helpful information that like people are just writing off. So I see social media as virtual reality to create your potential. There's so much more available to you. And I talk about this in the Value Creator videos. There's 2 of them. Because I also see that entrepreneurship is the only long-term option for logical thinkers. A personal brand is an extension of your character, the self you continue to develop. Your goals are what attract like-minded buyers. Your problems, when solved, are how you help others in the form of a product or service. Your ideas are the posts that occupy the mental real estate of your followers and shape their sense of self. Writing and speaking your beautiful mind to the masses through social media is how you check the boxes of a fulfilling life. I talk about turning yourself into the business, not only in other videos, but in Digital Economics, my masterclass of everything you'll ever need to know for digital economics or online business. So we talked about like conceptual reproduction or spiritual reproduction in like previously, where we tried to survive our concept of self. And so the reason that having a child is so fulfilling is that you're creating a self. You're creating someone that's going to go on and impact the world, hopefully. So if you want to fulfill that early in your life, then you become a creator. You become a writer, you become a creative, you become someone who contributes to humanity through business, and you use your mind to help other people. And by doing so, you change identities across the globe. I would hope that I could say that I've changed some of your guys' lives, and by doing so, a part of me is inside of you. It's always weird when I talk about this stuff. We're talking about mental plane of existence, guys, okay? But this is why writing, speaking, and building a business is so rewarding, is that you feel that sense of connection and fulfillment that comes from impacting lives at scale. We are in a spiritual war. Those who occupy the most mental real estate hold the most power in the modern world. Think of James Clear. He wrote the book Atomic Habits. If James Clear went on Twitter or X and he wrote the word habits and posted it, he would get thousands of likes. Now, if anyone else were to do that, they would get very little likes. They would get less engagement than they normally do. And so this brings up a few lessons. One is that the longer you hold attention, the more power your ideas hold. Books will always reign supreme. Podcasts and long videos come second. Short content comes last, but all have their use cases. 2 is that your ideas must spark positive behavior change. If you change someone's life, they will credit you over and over for your success, meaning your ideas spread without people consuming your work. 3, when your ideas change lives, you hold attention longer. If someone is forming new habits, James Clear's ideas will occupy their mind throughout the day, which shapes their identity. They become a half child of James Clear. So something like short form writing on Twitter is good and necessary for attracting initial attention, but long form writing is for building trust and nurturing the mind and creating other selves. So all I'm saying here is that power, not only in your business, but in just the modern world in general, or as a creator or as a writer, which I'm going to be talking more about, is just online writing and becoming a writer because I see it so powerful. But the way to do so is by holding attention for longer periods of time through content. And you need to understand that short form and long form go hand in hand, and that if you neglect one or the other over time, I didn't write a book until 3 years in, right? But over time of you doing this, that's your goal, is to hold attention for longer. So let's go over a few action steps just so this is a bit more practical. Study that which generates attention: psychology, media, design, writing, marketing, sales, persuasion, influence, and the mind. Study yourself, your thoughts, emotions, actions, and follow them to their root. What goals, problems, and beliefs have others projected on you that led to those thoughts, emotions, and actions? This may sound like a lot, but you have your entire lifetime to focus on this. Like when you're not doing this, you're distracted. That's it. Because what's the only other option? It's distracting your mind, numbing your mind, doing nothing with your life. There's nothing wrong with rest, but there is something wrong from not balancing it out with work, meaningful work. Because the only pain greater than seeing what you were capable of is not seeing what you were capable of. Your education should and must reflect that. The final chapter is mental monetization. We have understood our mental body. We understand the concept of mental bodybuilding, so how to build a valuable mind, and then mental real estate. So how you occupy others' attention with the beautiful mind that you've built. And so now that you have that, now you have people attracted to you. Now you need to give them something worth paying money for. That's called business. That's how you monetize your mind. Because it's 2023. You have the resources to revamp your education, enhance your skill set, and change the source of income in less time than it would take to get a college degree. But there's a trap that many people fall into. They attempt to monetize the vain, superficial, or rapid. They post half-naked pictures online just to lose their income source when they have to gain weight and actually be healthy. They study the algorithm rather than human nature and hope that AdSense or just relying on someone else to create your income for you works long-term. They study the best business models of 2023 instead of understanding just business as a whole and studying marketing, sales, writing, and speaking. That way they don't lose their income when the economy shifts. It is better to realize early that intelligence is a more sustainable monetization lever. Creativity, wisdom, development, and character can be the source of your income if you protect your mind. So let's talk about what you need to study. So the 3 applications, not necessarily skills, that we need to study are social media, offer creation, and traffic generation. These are how your skills are going to be learned and channeled to actually build your own thing. You must build a brand, offer, and practice driving traffic between the two. That's how you make money. And so when you learn the skills that we're going to talk about, I talk about them more in depth in the $1 million skill stack videos. There's 2 of those. But when you learn them, you filter the information through what you are building and what you are applying them to, the applications: social media, offer creation, traffic generation. So the first skills that you need to understand are just writing, speaking, marketing, and sales. You need to understand how to create a valuable message through all of them, distribute that message, which is writing or speaking online like I'm doing right now, and distribute it to the world. That's how you do it. You must start building, not learning, and when you encounter a problem, study writing, speaking, marketing, and sales courses and content. A good book to get you started on this is Influence by Robert Cialdini. The second set of skills that you need to learn are results-oriented skills, something more practical, something more modern, but these will change with time, just like how AI is becoming more of a thing right now. That's a good skill to learn. It's results-oriented, but so is graphic design, web design and development, search engine optimization, email marketing, social media marketing agencies, any other business or skill that people tell you to learn or start. But all of these are made effective by the evergreen skills: writing, speaking, marketing, and sales. Because if you learn one of them by themselves, like graphic design, you get primed for replacement and can usually only earn an income from a job. If you don't know how to market your own business, then you're not going to land clients. And if you don't study it holistically, then you're not going to be able to scale. You're going to be stuck as a freelancer in the starting artist phase, doing manual outreach all day and hoping that you get referrals. So now that you have these skills to learn and hopefully you start learning, I want to give you guys some more just practical advice. So what you need to do is you need to write, speak, market, and sell on social media. So the way you do that is you dissect your mind for topics. And I talk about this a lot more into our writer if you just want systems that you can learn. And that's how you learn writing, speaking, marketing, and sales as well. I teach it in there. But to our writer, check it out. If a mind is composed of ideas that form thoughts, beliefs, and actions, it makes sense to break them into their individual parts, study them, enhance them, and reprogram the way you think. So here's how you dissect your mind. for topics to actually write, speak, market, and sell about. What are your goals? Write about the benefits of achieving them. What are the problems standing in the way? Write about the emotions involved in overcoming them. What skills do you have to acquire to reach your goals? Write about how you are applying those skills and what you've learned. What are 10 to 20 things you are genuinely curious about? Study them and share the big ideas that you feel compelled to share with someone else, but in your own words. What are the topics and interests you already consume? I love watching, reading, and just listening to really any type of content that falls under self-improvement. So that could be psychology, productivity, creativity, philosophy, metaphysics, business, anything. So you want to create a topic tree with 3 broad interests. For me, I would argue that most people's should umbrella under the one interest of self-improvement or self-development or personal development, because we're trying to improve other people's lives. And then you break those down into 3 for now, not limited to 3, but let's say productivity, creativity, business. And then you use those as a starting point to start researching, buying books, looking at content, generating ideas from like what other people have posted on YouTube or Medium or other places. So then you can start to create that content too. Are you beginner, intermediate, or advanced? 99% of the market are beginners. And this is often a struggle point for people of all levels. Think about what you consume and how you consume it. Are you on social media to actually be educated? Are you looking there to learn? No, that's impossible. You wouldn't be just on social media like, oh, I want to learn this because I'm struggling with this, so I'm hoping that it shows up on my feed. When you are searching for something to learn, you're searching, you have intent, right? So when you're posting on social media, you need to understand that, because you need to understand that most people are posting beginner level advice and seeing success doing that because people are on social media to be entertained or reminded of the principles that work. Even if you think you're learning from the timeline, let's say you go onto YouTube and you watch a video that pops up about fitness, is it not just saying the same thing over and over again about the principles that you already know, but that's helpful to your life because it shows you that you're on the right path. So you need to join in on that and not become so high level with the things that you're writing on social media so that you actually resonate with people and grow. And then you save the high level information for when people have intent to either buy from you or search something else. Now, the very important thing here is that 1, you're sticking this out for life. Okay? If you're not, leave this video. You're not welcome here. You're welcome, but you're doing this for life. I promise you that. You'll make that realization eventually. We need to iterate on our big ideas because it's the nature of life. Everything is trial and error. The way you do good is you write, and then you go back after a month and you see, okay, this one did better than most of them. I need to lean into this more. Okay, a year down the road, I have 50 posts that are extremely good. They got way more engagement than any of my other posts. I need to double down on those. 2 years later, you have 500 posts. And now all of those are validated ideas that, let's say I take them from Twitter to Instagram, I know they're going to do well. That's what I did. That's how I grew on Instagram. I took my validated ideas, put them on there, executed a growth strategy, and blew up. And then after some time, like let's say 6 months to a year of doing this, you need to create a data-driven product that you then iterate on, let's say every 6 months. It needs to evolve as you gain more experience. So you need to pay attention to how your best ideas perform. If the idea performs well, it probably means a product or service will also do well based on that idea. 2 is how others' products and ideas perform. You have to become an observer over a consumer. View social media content, landing pages, funnels, products, services, and promotions as inspirational firepower for your own. Sell what's already selling, but under your own name and worldview. 3 is what people tell you they want. As you grow, your readers will become more vocal about what they want from you and what was helpful. Double down on this. 4 is the questions people ask. You will notice patterns in the problems people have. The more questions you get, the bigger the problem, and the more likely people are to pay you for help. You can really monetize anything nowadays. Like, think of something that you'd want to monetize, that you would actually want to monetize. Don't play around with me here. Like, oh, I want to sell dog poop. No, think of something you actually want to monetize, and then go look it up. Someone's already selling it. Study them, replicate their business model, do it under your name. There's a reason you follow 10 to 20 people talking about the same fucking thing online. You're following 10 to 20 fitness influencers or productivity influencers. Why can't you be one of them? The reason you aren't making money is because 1, you haven't developed the skill set. 2, you haven't created the product. 2, you haven't stuck that product in the flowing water of money that's already there. And so, of course, I've talked about a lot of this on the One Person Business playlist that you can find on my profile here on YouTube. But the best route to take in all of this is to solve your own problems in life and sell the solution. Because everyone has the same goals and problems. They're just viewing them from different lenses, from different identities. So if you attract the people with the same identity that have a very similar perception, then something you sell to them will resonate. You want financial freedom, health, vitality, love, and every benefit of improving your health, wealth, and relationships. One person will try budgeting for financial freedom, while the other person will try a side hustle, while the other an e-commerce store, while the other a social media brand. And what you do to achieve the goals will be completely different from someone else. So that path is your product. Your job is to attract people like you by talking about your journey. Then package up your path to achieving the goal and sell it. This is how you build a beautiful mind. Understand your mental body, train that body like you would in the gym, know that modern power comes from attention or mental real estate, use writing or business as a vessel for self-understanding and monetization. Enjoy the rest of your week. Again, Art of Focus is coming soon. I'd say like 2 months from this video, hopefully. But 2 Hour Writer Digital Economics, if you want to learn a high impact writing as a skill, or turn yourself into the business. Other free stuff like the Power Planner, 7 Days to Genius Ideas Challenge are both down there. Aside from that, like, subscribe, all that other stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.